asked my viewers, what are the craziest things that you have done with your siblings that your parents don't know about? It was during at school, and me and my sister were only 15 years old at junior high. One of the craziest thing that happened, and I would rather share this online anonymously than with my parents, is when my sister suddenly had some red liquid dripping out of her. You know what? She sent me a text message during lunch break telling me to go to the girls' bathroom to meet her there. I texted her, "Hell no, why would I do that?" And her response was that she will scream if I don't. For Fosak. I cited and literally had to sneak into the girls' bathroom, and when I did, I quickly asked my sister what the heck was going on, and she told me to help her clean the blood down there because she was too scared of touching the blood. My mom usually does this for her, but I had no choice, and for the first time ever, I end up touching her pink flower petals down there, and she closes her eyes. I had to do it quickly and get out of the bathroom before any of the other girls notice. Yeah, I know, pretty wild in my case, but I scolded my sister to call mom instead of me. One time, a friend of mine told me if I had ever slept naked. I thought at the time the idea itself was very crazy, so I ignored the idea for the time being. However, one night the temperature was humid as hell and I couldn't take it anymore. I decided to strip off all of my clothing and just lay there on my back naked, but it felt so good. Every small inch of wind I felt through my thick skin, the feeling of my bed being more soft than usual. It was the best feeling ever, so I immediately slept in. However, the next morning, something unexpected happened. I woke up naked to see my sister standing in front of me with my willy straight and hard. We stared at each other for a solid 1 minute before she asked a harrowing question. "Did you actually find me hot?" she asked. I told her to get out of my room immediately, and I told her that it's normal for it to be like that in the morning. Then, out of nowhere, she rushed and suddenly touched my wee-wee. I asked her why the hell she did that, but told me that she was curious of the texture. I put on my clothes and pushed my sister out of the room. I am so dead because my sister is the chatty type to her friends. This was so long ago, and I prayed that my sister would forget it. The craziest thing happened in my life, and the worst part was that I only realized this 5 years after it happened. Usually me and my sister would bathe together when we were at a younger age, so we never had those thoughts that triggered our primal instinct. We both wore our swimwear clothes, and we got in the bathtub together. At one point, my sister was sitting on my groin, and I told her to get off, but she ignored me. Suddenly, things got worse when my eggplant was growing slowly, and at the time, I had no idea what was going on. I thought there was some pain in the groin, but the stick touched something soft, and at the time, it was a weird feeling, so I pushed my sister away because she was stubborn as hell. So afterwards we finished our bathing and acted like nothing happened. 5 years later, I remembered this incident, realizing that I may have accidentally lost my V card to my own sister, which is crazy, and I don't know if my sister remembers that, but I'm too afraid to ask. We were both 14 at the time, and my family was so broke that me and my sister had to share one bedroom, which is crazy for me to think about it now, but at the time me and my sister were okay with it. At one point I woke up in a fetal position, but my sister did the same, except her face was sitting so close to mine to the point that if I lean over a bit, my lips would touch hers. At one point I was reminded one of those kissing scenes on the movies, and what I did next made me regret things for the rest of my life. Yeah, I literally forced my lips to touch hers, and I did weird things with my tongue. It felt weird and wet, but I stopped immediately when my mom walked through the door, and I pretended to close my eyes. My heart was beating and my emotions are all over the place, and since then I have been doing it secretly. I know, this is why it is a regret, because I only realized later how wrong this is, so I stopped and I ended up sleeping on the floor to enact divine punishment on myself. I can only pray that my sister will never found out because she thinks she had her first kiss with her crush, but it turns out to be me, her brother. So I am currently living with my 4 sisters, as I was the only brother sibling in the house. One day, we were playing truth or dare like usual, but for some reason, my sisters made a weird rule. Every time that someone would reject the truth or dare, they have to slowly strip their clothes off. I dared to not play, but one of my sisters forced blackmail onto me of something that I did that I do not want to reveal on this story. So at the time, I had no choice. The craziest thing was my sisters made me do impossible dares, like do a backflip or read an entire page of book in Chinese, etc. And each time I have to slowly strip my clothes until I had my underwear. I told them to stop doing this anymore because I felt very uncomfortable, and they told me to do one more dare. They told me to climb to the top of the house. Out of pure will, I did end up climbing at the top of the house, and I told them that I am not playing this game anymore. Ever since then, I stopped playing with them, thinking they have some ulterior motives. Something happened very recently, and I have no idea how to approach this. My sister left her laptop open as she goes out shopping with her friends. Me being the curious type, I went to get my sister's laptop and opened her Google search history thinking there is going to be some corn videos. But what I discovered was so much worse and very unexpected. The following searches that my sister had recently been surfing was, how do I get my brother to like me? Is it okay for my own brother to marry me? Why do I find my brother so hot? Etc. And I got immediately freaked out. What was worse was when I opened a forum website where she asked the question if stroking her flower petals while looking at a picture of my brother is normal. And the comments advised against this as this is wrong, but my sister made defensive comments how this may be normal. I got so freaked out, and thinking back on it, I have always been wondering why my sister is so clingy to me and being so nice to me, because when I look at other siblings, they are usually distant and fighting each other sometimes, but our relationship as siblings may be abnormal. I didn't think of it at the time because I thought maybe having a kind sister is actually nice, but looking at her history searches, I now realized why. I did not want to talk to my family or any of my close friends, but I asked advice with professional help. They told me to move out or talk it out with my sister, but I don't know anymore. My sister was always the distant, shy, and dismissive girl she was, and she is always the bookworm in our family. However, one day I decided to stay up very late because I wanted to study my mathematics test, which was annoying since math is not my strongest suit. But however, around 1:30 a.m. in the morning, I immediately heard slight moaning sounds coming from my sister's bedroom. I got curious and went to investigate. It turns out my sister is just pleasuring herself, and I thought that it was normal. But when I came to check on her the next morning, I noticed a picture of me on her bed, and when the dots start connecting, I thought that my sister was thinking of me that night. So when I confronted her about it, she denied it strongly, thinking I was some weird Redditor or something. Either way, it was a weird thing to discover in my sister's bedroom.